Hello. Now, this is kind of odd because I feel like I'm talking to a long lost friend. Whereas actually, it's the first time Rebecca and I have spoken in real life. But that's because we've messaged a lot on Instagram because she's one of the most kindest, generous people you could meet. And we just clicked. But also, you all know her as an awesome vertical actress. So I'm going to let the amazing Rebecca give a little intro to herself. What would you tell someone you were meeting for the first time about you?
Well, first, hi Jen. Thank you so much for bringing me on and everything that you do for this community. Like, I call you mother. It is like our mother hen protecting all us little headless chickens who are running around. And we just appreciate you and the community that you have helped get together and create so much. Like, we talk about you on set, like we know. So thank you for that. Very much appreciated. Well, my name is Rebecca Berg. I was born and raised in Copenhagen, Denmark. I actually have been working professionally since I was about 10 years old, as an actress, and started like my first job was on this Danish show that actually won an Emmy. And yeah, I then once I was old enough to make my own decisions, I've always known I wanted to act, and I decided to come to the US to take my acting education, and I trained professionally at a place called the Strasburg Institute, which if you're an actor, you definitely know. Also trained at Groundlings, and I also worked with James Franco. He was my teacher as well at Studio 4. So yeah, I took a whole bunch of training, loved it, and then once I got my visa sorted and stuff, I started auditioning and booking and all that jazz. And now, 1 year ago, exactly, pretty much almost 1 year ago, in May, 1 year ago, I did my first vertical. Had no idea what it was or what to expect, and now here I am. That's kind of my full-time thing.
I just go back to you mentioned you were in a Danish show that won an Emmy. What was that show?
It was called The Eagle, and it was like
Oh,
a crime drama.
because I don't know how much they went over to America, but I'm in the UK, and Denmark is really known for like these amazing like dark noir
Yeah.
crime dramas. It was like they for a period they were the ones to watch. So I'm guessing it was that sort of thing, and
Yeah.
that's a
And
really nice show to start with.
it
Yeah.
was about this Danish group of children going to like a zoo in like Sweden, but then a person on the bus had like a bomb and was gonna blow it up. And I remember the casting director, like when she called my mom to tell me I got the job because I was so young, I remember. So like, first of all, she's not gonna get blown up, and now I'm gonna tell you what it's about. Then my parents allowed it. I mean, they would have regardless, but that was the first time I was on a professional film set, and I loved it. I cried when I had to go back to school.
Did your character survive, or were you a
Yeah, we
victim?
all did. We all
Oh,
did.
thank
We were all
goodness.
rescued.
Brilliant. That's a happy ending to that because it's a bit like, oh, and then they all
Definitely.
died. Because being a Danish show, I would have quite expected everyone died. So
I mean, that's a fair assumption.
yeah, but yeah. Okay, so coming to America, um, just out of interest, how many languages do you speak?
Too fluently. So
Okay.
Danish is my first language and English is my second. And then my dad was born in Sweden, so I had my grandparents in Sweden and always went there a lot. I I understand it, and I can read all Swedish and Norwegian and understand as long as they speak a bit slowly and I speak a bit, but it's definitely something I have to work on a
Because
little
it's
bit.
phenomenal, because I don't think people would know until you tell them that you're not
That's what
American.
I've been told, and I'm grateful for that because otherwise, I have to be able to like play an American. I
And do
want
you
your
enjoy,
accent.
like, I've decided that's the secret of my success. It's the cute English accent. I think if I
No,
didn't
for
have
real,
that,
you can say something really clever and like American and it's still gonna sound somewhat stupid. You can say something kind of dumb and British, and it's just gonna sound more like it's just gonna sound smarter. Like
oh
not
yeah,
that
it's
you have
classes as
both
well.
you have both the accent and the intelligence, but I
So do
mean,
you enjoy having just obviously the fact you've got that accent, is that something that you'd like to do, like voice work? Can you do different accents and,
I'm
is that
not
something
really
you're trying
good
to do?
at different accents. My American one is something I never took classes for. It's not anything I ever worked on. It was just there. I always like traveled a lot with my family, so I've been bilingual since I was very little. And then obviously living here, it becomes like more and more. I would definitely am trying to learn more accents because I think that's a skill that can literally always be useful. Voice acting, I've done like a little bit of. I enjoy that too. Like that's like always fun too. It's not like my main focus, but yeah, definitely.
So we have to talk about verticals now, because obviously this is a vertical drama love. Um, so am I right in thinking, was your first role, was it in 100% Destined for Your Love, or was it Call for Billionaire Surrogate? Which was the first actual set that
It
you walked
was
into?
100% destined for your love.
Oh, with the
Yeah.
lovely Kyra. Oh,
I adore her. She was such a saving grace for me because I didn't understand what it was. I didn't understand the world. I was like, I remember being very much like, but why? Or like this doesn't make sense. Or like so and so. Like there are these little things where you're like, how is this gonna look okay on camera? Like everybody can see it. So like there are all these little, especially like technical things. And I remember Kira, she was like, Rebecca, stop thinking so hard. And I was like, okay. And that has been something I have brought with me because it's kind of like you just got to learn to trust and just do your thing. And, you know, the crew, the director has the vision, all that, like learn to trust. And that was actually really helpful and mostly have fun with it. And that's like, don't take it so seriously because it's not supposed to be. Sure, there are serious moments and we take the work seriously, but we're having fun. And that really helped also take some pressure off of me too. And I just had so much fun with that. Yeah.
that's really interesting what you said, because I've talked to other people and they said that part of it is learning the tone, and that you can go, particularly with a role, if you are playing a villain, you can go bigger and you can push it further, and
They
it's
usually
supposed to be a
want
bit
us
out
to.
there.
Like, that has been the number one. It depends on which show. There's been several I've been in where my director's literally like, bigger, Rebecca, bigger, bigger, because it wasn't like my first, instinct. And then there are some where it's okay, it's a bit more subtle, but I mean, you'll see in a new one that's gonna come out called the working title is Love at 50s or something like that. It might change, it usually does, but I am me. And like there are some that are a bit more over the top, almost cartoony comedic. And then there are some that are more grounded, but generally it's soap opera world. It's never going to be subtle.
Mistaken for a Gold Digger, you play Fiona. So what I like is that obviously we do want to see you do more than a villainess, and I know you can do that, but I feel you've done a nice range of different situation villainesses. So Fiona's the classic office posse bully, where there's the gang of mean girls. Um, and obviously you get slightly different things. So for that, you've got kind of more the office uniform, you've got the skirts. And then you're Beta Beth in Serving My Enemy Alpha. Now that one, your costumes are out there because that's a werewolf one. How well do the costumes help with getting you into that role?
A lot, a lot, a lot, a lot. Like it's all about like, the way you sort of carry yourself, the way you walk, like Beta Bath, they did a thing with a lot of like chokers, and I liked that. And it was almost this gothic kind of thing. It's like once you like wear that, you just kind of automatically you carry yourself a little differently, like all those things. That's why I love also when makeup artists and wardrobe costumes they show me the mood board beforehand, like they sometimes do that and I love when they do that and I'm like see what they're like thought is, and I can incorporate that into whatever I was thinking. So it like definitely like helps a lot.
The other thing I would say it's interesting is obviously I think most of your scenes are mistaken for a gold digger. You're in an office.
Hmm.
How does that work with the lighting? Because I just remember it feeling quite washed out. So for all of you to try and, is it quite complicated technically, just filming in that sort of space?
I feel like that's honestly one of the easiest spaces to film in. Now,
Mm.
don't take my word on it because I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know about the like the grips and gaffers and DP and all that, but it's usually easy because it's quiet and we film in the day, and as long as you're like within like daylight and stuff, like I feel like the werewolf one was a bit more complicated also because we were dealing with a severe weather situation and we had several like exterior scenes like, and it was pouring rain. Like there's a wedding scene and we actually had to move the entire wedding scene to like a different location because of the weather. Like I feel like that one was way more complicated because it's a little darker, there's a little more smoke, there's like a different gothic vibe. So just the location we were filming in were a little bit more difficult to film in. There was also this like I remember like there was a lamp in one location and it was literally like it was hanging down so low, like it fit right in front of my face, and Casey and I had to do like a two shot. And Casey is a very tall man. So first of all, I'm like, a two shot hates to see us coming because how are we even gonna fit in like both? Like, but it was literally like when we were filming it, we're on him, like Tiffany and whoever, Mark and Cameron, whoever it was, like supposed to be talking to me. All they could see is like a lamp. Like, and I am really clumsy, so I knocked into it a few times too. Like I feel like those locations were a bit more difficult. Anything exterior is usually also more difficult.
I have to say thank you because I think one of the things that's brilliant about Seven Miami Alpha is it does look phenomenal. I mean, just the cabins and the wood. I think I can see that, yeah, it's easier filming the office, but as a viewer, it's much more exciting, those sort of scenes. And then I think it sets up the werewolf world really well. And obviously it's a challenge with a werewolf. Do you get a primer, basically? Because it's quite a specific world with the terms. And I'm always like, when you come into this as a vertical actor, is someone like, yeah, this is kind of the terminology, and this is the lunar, and this is the moon goddess. Like, how do you pick it up?
Good question.
Yeah.
I Googled. I at all times have the weirdest Google search. Like I am not, thank God I'm not a criminal, but like I am scared for someone to ever check it because my Google search can be so weird. It can be like for roles or for situation. It's like, what is the best way to torture somebody without leaving a mark? Or like those things I have actually looked into, and it's the same with like werewolves. I'll be like, okay, so what is a beta and what's a Luna and how much does this weigh in this world? And then I do. The director on this one was incredible, Ira. She's fantastic. I've loved working with her. And I had a meeting with her before shooting where we talked about the character, and we were just so much on the same page about the character. And then she had some extra things that I hadn't thought about that I was like, oh my God, yes, 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 and all that. So I think it's still we are in a different universe, but it's still about, at least in this one, it was about the human part in it. Like I didn't do any howling or anything, like a little bit of growling, I guess, and that was definitely new for me.
I think that
'Cause
works when it is, it's a little bit more primal rather than going, it's finding
you
that
can
line
you
where
can
you
use
keep
it
it.
in a different way. Again, like the way I see the wolves, like what are they? And they're very protective. Like I sort of incorporate the wolf and the being of a wolf into the world. Like you might movement, aggressiveness, like if I become mad as the office bitch, it's a different kind of mad. When I become mad as Beta Beth, that's a more like that's actually a threat because at any point I could go in your throat. Like, like it's that very real, actually life and death threat. Whereas the office bitch, it's more the corporate kind of, you
Oh,
know?
yeah. Yeah. Do you know what? It's so
Okay,
now you said that because I'm now thinking, because I've rewatched both recently. Yeah, your physicality is really different in them.
thank you.
That's phenomenal. Yeah, it is, and yeah, there's like a more visceral thing with Beth of like, yeah, oh, I mean, we know this because you're an actress, but you're really good. Like,
It's
you're
Thank
really
you.
good.
It's something that we do also at Strasburg when I train there, animal exercise, and you try all these different things, and you'll see it in like movies all the time. If there's like a kind of not in werewolf land, but just a character that's kind of alpha male that gets mad, and you see like he puts like his fist down like this, like no, like where does that come from? Like it's usually who else does that? A gorilla. Like, like you'll see a lot of animal, I think, in a lot of acting and performances, and it's a really good tool, especially when you have to make something like werewolf that is pretty far from what I am. Like, I hope. um, I mean, who hasn't howled at the moon at midnight? But other than that, like, uh, try to make it real, right? You have to sell it, and the best way to do that is to find something you can relate to in it.
And one of the things I wanted to go to the style because I know you've told me what you call them, but they do try something a little bit different with the furs. So it's not quite as some of them are just, I'm afraid
I
I get
know
will
your
stick
stance
to
on
filler.
furs, and
But this one,
I
it will a
don't
bit
think
more
any of
pared
this,
back.
I
It's not
don't.
quite. Sorry, but you told me you call them. Was it emotional support furs?
Yeah, the ESF.
Love that.
We had
Fun.
it became a standing joke on set because I was just like, especially Casey and I would joke a lot about it because I would just like stand and just like touch his fur, and it just became a joke, and it's like, oh, 2 minutes for Casey. He's got to get his emotional support fur, like, like, or it's even like when he's like in bed with like Ella, whatever. It's like, should he have his emotional support fur? It's close. It's.
And if it's not, I don't want to be rude asking, but what is it like working with Casey? Because obviously Casey is, I would say, the most well-known face in verticals and probably outside the space. He's had the most recognition. You know,
Imagine if I was like terrible, hate him.
yeah. So I was just like,
Worst.
yeah, I basically want the inside scoop. That's what I'm asking you for.
Honestly, and this is not something I'm saying just because we're filming this or taping it.
Yeah.
Casey is one of my favorite actors I have worked with. Like he is like I have never laughed so hard with somebody. We just we just laugh a lot, almost too much. Sorry, Ira. And but he also knows very well when to like be super professional. Like we kind of go in and out of that. He's good at like he's always prepared. Like he's just a professional, like shows up on time, always prepared, always brings it and gives a lot to his scene partner and just easy to work with, just a joy. And then him and I just have a range of inside jokes. We kept joking because I was like, obviously because I play the villain a lot, they never get the guy, and I just spend show after show just getting hardcore rejected. And I was like, I have never been rejected harder than in this vertical world. And he was like, that's funny because I've never had more game.
Yeah, he's had a lot of weddings. So,
Yeah, yeah.
um, talking about, I kind of going back to sets actually, because the pool boy
Hmm.
is, I would say, quite an interesting vertical because it's quite a different feel. It's on Viglu. And I would say it feels a bit more like an art house independent movie musical because of the way it's made. Did it feel different?
It did, because up until then, that was my fourth vertical that I did. And up until then, I'd worked with like the same company. I had done the 100% Destined for Your Love, and then I did that small role in the Surrogate one, and then I did, this is bad. It's one I think it's called Love as I Remember. And it was all very much same role, office setting, which I got. And then I got this. Just there's not a lot of office stuff and takes place differently. And I think you're absolutely right. It was different. It was much less soapy, much less telenovela, much more grounded. And there's not like a clear villain. There's really not. Like, I'm not a villain in that, in my opinion. Like, and it was much more, I sort of got to, the reason I liked it so much is because I got to portray a lot more vulnerability. And for me as an actress, I really, really liked that. I also think that Kimberly Birch, who plays the lead, I thought she was really, really good. Like, great actress, and enjoyed working with her. Everyone on that shoot was incredible. And then Viglo, it was interesting and special to be part of a launch, sorry. See, there's the accent. Uh, a launch of like a new app. Um, I've no idea how it did, but like I enjoyed working on it. I know I'm up for a lead role right now with the same director and platform. But yeah,
So
that was just, yeah, that was just a total joy to work on.
there's that challenge of the actors and all the creatives. I know you want to move in this direction, but also bringing the viewers with you and trying to keep some of it, but also at the same time elevating it. But I think we are getting there. So I would say from this year, the amount of like originality and scripts, it's not all of them, but a lot are improving compared to where we were, say, a year ago. So
Yeah, I saw some that you've been reviewing and stuff, the Race to My Heart, like all that's like the boxing ones, like, oh, I am here for it. Like, yes, I love whenever I get to do kind of that. I also just, there's a lot of glam in these. It's a lot of, gone to a lot of balls and auctions, and it's fun and all that. Like, honestly, I'm always happy when I'm at work. And of course, it's fun to wear a pretty dress and be glammed up. But me as an actor, I always prefer the dirt and the mud and the blood. And you'll hardly ever see blood in these, and you hardly ever see that. And again, that's okay. Like, you also can't force, like, this is like a different medium, and you can't force other genres on it, because then it's no longer the genre that's so popular. So, like, they can move in certain directions, and I'm so glad that they are. But we also have to, you know, a soap opera is not supposed to be not a soap opera, like, I think. So it's a interesting, I think it's both an interesting conversation and it's an interesting path. I'm glad that they're experimenting, but I'm just so happy when I get to also be a little down and dirty and all those things, and not the pretty all the time, like the other, like, costumes, jeans. I've never gotten to wear jeans. One day.
one day we'll get you there. So I have to talk about, you sort of slightly set it up beautifully. So we didn't realise when we set up this interview that you would have a brand new vertical out, which is Royal Air Breaks My Heart in a War Zone, which I think is one of the best verticals I've seen this year. And it's going to be a smash hit. And I have officially said it. It's going to be a smash hit. You can do the numbers on this one, because everyone I've spoken to today is like, this is great. This is, Noah Fernie's had a lot out, and they're like, this is the one out of the ones that have come out. I'm going to talk for a bit because I'm excited. So if you want to like
Yeah,
have a little snooze while I ramble on, I'm particularly excited because I don't think you are aware or the cast are aware, but this is actually very heavily influenced by a smash hit Korean drama called Descendants of the Sun, which I watched on Netflix. It's one of the biggest Korean dramas ever. Um, and they've definitely taken bits from it. And I don't think that's a bad thing at all because it was iconic and they've put them in here. So why not do it? But they've also given it a vertical twist. So I can say in the Korean drama, there's no prince, there's no child, there's no Selena. You're not in it. So I love that they've taken some of the iconic bits, but then also given it a vert twist. And I think that's phenomenal. I love that it's combined both. So I'm presuming, because I think you said it was new today, I'm presuming no one on the cast was aware that there was this drama that was the influence.
We were aware because
Yeah.
we heard a bit, but I didn't know it was that. I didn't know it was Korean. I knew it was a foreign language, well, foreign language for
Mm.
me. Um, and there were like some things that they really, really cared about. Like Noah, Noemi, and myself might be number one, two, three on the call sheet, but that scarf is number zero. I'm telling you, the amount of time it took to get everything you see with that scarf, it was literally like, why can't we control the wind? Like it was because it was so windy. It was so sunny. It was so windy. Everything outside that we filmed, it was hard to just keep our eyes open. And then the wind and the hair, it was definitely like some challenging things. And you can't tell a scarf. Can you blow in the other direction? We had leaf blowers. Like it was a thing we spent, because we were like, I remember not understanding, like, why are we spending so much time on the scarf, but it's all like making sense. And that was something they really cared about. And I mean, I see now seeing it, like, again, back to what I'm saying, just trust the process, don't think so hard. Like, they knew what they were doing. They knew exactly what they were doing.
Yes, I mean, the original Korean drama, that
Mhm.
is the most iconic scene in all of it. The scarf. That's the one that everyone knows. So I admire their commitment because, yeah, I can see that was not easy to film. But bravo, the team who were like, we're putting the scarf in.
Bravo. No, for real, bravo team.
Now, your character is a very welcome addition. Oh, Selena. Because initially, okay, I always try to approach a villain or a villainess and go, let's be sympathetic. Let's see what's going on here. So initially I'm like, oh, she's engaged to this prince. She's quite right. Who's this upstart person who's come in and messing in our relationship? So initially I was on side, okay? And then we find out that you won't treat the people. No interest in treating the patients. Strike one. Strike two. Oh, then we're in negotiation and working with terrorists, like the terrorist cell. Multiple attempts at murder. Oh my goodness. And then I called you Rebecca Berg in this. I was like, Rebecca Berg, what have you done? Selena. There's a key moment where there is a virus, which is in the original one, but not in the original one, is a certain doctor going, oh no, I broke the vial. There's only enough for one person. I mean, that's got to be like up there of top tier awful things of villain. It
In
must be
front of
quite
her.
satisfying. Did it smash the right way the first time you dropped it?
So I have a funny story because obviously we had, um, you know, uh, art department had multiple of these in case. And then the scene where we did like my coverage, I was specifically told to like I can drop it, but like they laid out this carpet I was standing on so that it wouldn't smash. Just also like for safety with glass and all that. They were very, very good about that. But of course, me as Rebecca, I get so much into it and I'm so invested in the scene and I am there, I am focused, and I drop it exactly the way, like I am Selena at this point, and I drop it. But Rebecca, she managed to drop it and smash it one place. There's no carpet, and it smashes perfectly. But I wasn't supposed to, right? So it's not on camera or anything. And then they're like, okay, cool. Let's move on. And they need to get the insert of the thing smashing. And they didn't want me to do it because I was really disappointed. I'm like, That's the fun part. Anyway, but they were like, we don't want you to get hurt if any glass, whatever. I'm like, okay, fine. And they couldn't smash it. And I was being so annoying because I was like, I can do it. Like, do you need, like super annoying. I like smashing things because I'm clumsy. So when I actually get to do it and I'm supposed to, it's great. But
Very
it
satisfying. See, I was supposed to that
it
time.
wouldn't smash. It just wouldn't smash. And now I saw it, and I think the shot is in there where it smashes. And but I don't know if they've done that after. As far as I remember, we didn't get it. I could be misremembering though, but I
I
remember
think
it
they've done it
just,
together because that makes sense because you just see you do something and then it's on the ground. There's
yeah,
a shot of it on the ground.
yeah.
And
They just wouldn't.
um, so with that one as well, there's a really great line in it where you were saying about the costumes. So it is a little bit downplayed. You know, you get the doctor's coat a lot, but there's a great thing where Prince Harry or Noah turns to you and is basically like, "You're not quite dressed appropriately. We're not at a gala," which I thought was a bit harsh because I thought doctors can. I didn't think it was. I thought that was a bit uncalled for, to be honest.
I think I think so too. I think no, it's funny because like the very first thing I say in this is when I step out of my car and I'm like, I came straight from a gala. Like, just already it's like, okay. Um, yeah, I mean, he Prince Harry, not Noah, was just not very nice to me, and that was the whole thing. And I try my best to be nice to him, but he's just not having it. He sees right through me the whole time.
Because he didn't even get a proper breakup.
No, he just yelled
He
that I'm
just tells you, and I was like, it's a little, because
and that's the thing. I was trying to like filming, I was like, I kind of felt bad, but you're so spot on in the review for her that there really isn't a single redeeming quality. I always try to find the human within the monster. But the way I see Selena is she's exactly, there are people who are like entrepreneurs or whatever, and they like the idea of being one more than actually being one. They like talking about how they are, but they're not really doing anything. And I feel like it's kind of the same here. She loves to be like the lead doctor and like I'm in a war zone, I'm doing good. I'm helping soldiers and I'm running this hospital, but she doesn't even want to treat patients. Like
I
I'm the
actually,
first to run out
when
when
you
I
said
see
that,
there's
there's
like
actually
blood and I'm like, and I run out.
there's actually probably quite a lot of people like that in the world, which is a bit of a worrying state of the world. That doesn't sound too far fetched. And in my head, you do have a backstory, and I feel you probably slightly coasted through university, possibly paid some people to do some of the
Of
exams.
course,
I feel
absolutely.
it
And
was
then my
that,
dad is the
but
poor
and
dude who
Daddy
owns the
owns the
hospital.
hospital, so she, yeah, but yeah, don't worry, I built it all up. You've got a whole backstory in my head because you are
Oh yeah.
phenomenal in it. Um, where did you film all that? Because obviously it looks quite different because I don't think we see a single like sweeping staircase or vertical house in this. I think no, actually
No.
possibly no, Prince Harry has a little bit with his father at the end, but generally it's not
Yeah.
the usual luxurious house. So where was it all filmed?
We filmed in a studio in Pico Rivera, just like further than like downtown. And then we filmed all the way in Santa Clarita at a movie ranch. And a funny story is that I used to work as a PA on productions. I worked on major HBO, Westworld, Homeland, a bunch of others. And we were filming, I think it might have been Homeland on that movie ranch. And I remember saying, next time I'm back here, it's not going to be as a PA. I want to film here as an actress. And that happened. I wasn't expecting it to be in vertical land, but it was still, that was kind of one of those moments where I'm like, we're so hard on ourselves always. And it's like when you're hard on yourself and thinking, I'm not where I want to be, I need to do more, I need to work harder, I can do better, I need to be better, better, better. It's like, it was one of those moments that forced me to just stop and be like, maybe I'm doing okay. Like, like, and I just felt really grateful. So, yeah, we shot there, and then we shot on a third studio in, oh, it was, I don't even remember at this point where it was. All of them were kind of like far from, or like an hour-ish where I live. And also I was shooting the werewolf one and this one same time. So I had like one day off from serving my enemy alpha, and that was my first day on this one. And then I had one day off from that one, and I went back to my enemy alpha, and then I was done with that, and then I went back to this. So
How
it
does
was a
that
lot.
work logistically? Are crews all right with you doing that? That
Only
sounds
have
intense.
taken, yeah, so it was luck. Like I had signed on to Enemy Alpha and we had one day off shooting that. And that happened to be the day that they needed me to start on this other one. And then they had like 1 or 2 days off on that one. So they were all off. So that was when I finished the other one. And then I was done with that. And then I could go back. And that was when they needed me. I feel like it was like written in the stars or something because that's luck that you don't usually see. Sometimes you have to say no to something simply because they can't make the schedule work. But it was a few weeks of me working 12 hours a day and an hour each way. So it's like 14-hour days. And I was trying to audition too for booking my next job. So it was I was definitely like tough, but and I was tired. Like at the end of my role, I was definitely like I did have a few naps on set when I wasn't needed, like full on fell asleep, but I just felt like so happy, like so grateful that I was there. Like there's no place I'd rather be.
How long? What's the time gap between when you were there on that set as a PA and then you came back as an actress? Do you remember how many years that is?
Yeah, I stopped PAing about like right before COVID, so like
Oh,
5 years.
I know you should be phenomenally proud of that. I mean, that's amazing. Because I
Thank
think
you.
that's the thing. Because I know that's how my brain works. I'm always like the next thing, the next thing, the next thing, the next thing, and then
Uh-huh.
I actually just look back and then go, do you know what? You made that dream
I
come
think that's
true.
a general thing, no matter where you are in life or what career you are, like especially women, we're always so quick to just see everything that we can do better and better and better. And like a lot of us just forget to like stop in a moment and be like, or like even your account, you might be, I want to get to 10K followers. I want a bigger community. I can do this and this and this. But look in, like you started this only some months ago, like way less than a year. I'm not even sure it's even been 6 months.
Oh no, it's
And
not.
already
It was Christmas.
there's
I got bored at Christmas. So yeah.
and already like how much has happened. Like that is actually insane and like impressive in a good way. So it's easy. It's good to have eyes on the next goal, but you can pat your own back a little bit once in a while. I think we have to because also I deal with rejection on a daily basis. It's tough.
So just I want to ask one more question about the villain roles, and then I want to talk about future stuff. What's kind of the who do you think is the most redeemable out of all the villain characters you've played? And also what do you think are some of the worst things you've done? But I'm going to take out the one we've just done because I think obviously that one's quite bad. But some of the other worst things, like
Actually, easy question. Beth, Beta Beth.
mm,
I don't think she's a villain. Might
yeah,
be unpopular. I think she's tough, but she is just so protective and she seems mean, but I think she has no choice. Like she is mean to Ella, but I mean, we see what they try to do. So I actually don't think she's a villain. I think that she is just overly tough and protected, and I think that she's a woman trying to, be taken like seriously and be respected in a man's world. Like she would probably be a better alpha, and she deserves to be alpha, but because she's a woman,
she,
that's
yeah, I
just
would
not
agree
gonna
with that.
happen.
She's a leader.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
she's a
100%.
leader, and so she knows that she might not ever become alpha just because she's a woman, and she just still so protective, and she has something that some men don't, maternal instinct. So I think that that's a villain who I'm actually kind of like, nah, I stand with her.
Good. I like that. And then what would you say is sort of one of the worst film things you've done? As in because you said
I
you've got a new one
think
coming out and you think that one's quite full on.
I think drugging Kira and setting her up for being sexually assaulted
Pretty out
is
there. Yeah.
pretty bad. My stepsister, I think that's
Yeah.
yikes, yikes, yikes. I think dropping the vial with the
Yeah.
medicine for Noemi or Dr. Charlie is pretty bad, definitely. Um, getting people kidnapped. I have more coming out. I may or may not have drugged more people. Uh, I do some pretty awful things. Funnily enough, I don't slap that many people. I get slapped a lot, a lot.
Yeah, so we need to get rid of the slaps. I think you know that. I'm done with the slaps. I do want to know with the drugs on the drink, like those. I mean, I just want to know where everyone goes to buy this in Vertland. Clearly, there's just a big shop of buy your
I
drugs.
know. I know. It's so easy, especially considering they know how to get that, but they don't know how to use Google, which would have cleared up a lot of misunderstandings. Like
Yes, there's no
you can
LinkedIn,
get
there's no
into this
Google, there's no
ballroom with an
interview paths.
invitation, but they don't check that you're actually.
Yeah.
So yeah, questions, questions. But yeah, I mean, of course, I can't get a guy, but I have a drug dealer on speed dial.
So when they give it, I mean, I want to know what's in there. Like, is it like the magic of the actual stuff they're putting in so that it looks good? I'm like, oh, this is
Sometimes I think sometimes they do it in post, or it's just
yeah.
simply like, I think they've done the headache pill, the Treo one, where you just put in and it gives
Yeah, and that's a good
the
idea.
fussy one, and sometimes it's just like juice or whatever. I was like, oh,
I think
yeah.
I've just written a post actually because I have this vision now that there's this shop where obviously on one counter you've got all the villains going to get their drugs, and on the other side you've got all the other eager grandparents who buy all the aphrodisiacs. They're all giving to the grandchildren. They're like, have this tea, and then they lock them in the room. And I think one even turned up
I think the next time I
eating.
drug somebody and it doesn't go my way, I think I should invoice them for the drugs and be like,
Exactly.
you owe me $300 for the drugs I wasted on
I'm
you.
business expense. It's tax
Yeah,
deductible. Yeah.
exactly. And I mean, does Selena, I don't think Selena drugs anybody. She does a lot of other things, but she's a doctor. She can get whatever she wants.
So one of the things I wanted to talk about going forward is obviously you are very deservedly on the short list for Rising Star. And I think that's because people have loved watching you and love that, yes, you have played villains, but I think they're all actually very different and you bring really different dimensions. But one of the things I want to talk about is I know you're capable of so much more, and we so want you to see you do the crossover that lots of other female actresses have done. What sort of stories would Rebecca Berg like to tell? You know, what things would you like to play? What appeals to you?
I love that question. I, first off, I am so grateful for any offer I get. Like anytime I get an offer, I'm happy. But I would definitely like, I love everything, especially like I love everything extra much that's not in an office or in an auction scene. Like I know you want to steer away from those too, and I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you. Like I love the other universes. Something like the racing one, the hockey one, the I really, really, really want to do like a kind of a country one where you kind of where maybe I come from a more poor family and it's in the country and I get to be kind of more of a country girls in boots and ride horses and that kind of thing. Like I would just love, love, love. Period piece, I would love.
You would. Hill in a period piece. Sorry, that's got me really excited. Oh my goodness.
Thank you.
And
I would
actually, this is
love.
a random question. Okay, this is from my husband. Um, so I told him I was talking to someone called Rebecca, and that I always start my video with, I'm so delighted. And he said, you need to start it with, last night I dreamt I was at Mandalay, which is the opening of the book Rebecca. So I wanted to ask, have you read it? Have you seen one of
No,
the versions?
no, but now I feel like I should.
Oh, yeah, you need to watch, but I think you would enjoy. But actually, in a weird way, it is kind of slightly vert orientated, because it's the young girl who gets married to the old guy, and then they go to this house, and it's completely overshadowed by his dead wife. And then there's this housekeeper called Mrs. Danvers, who basically worshipped the dead wife and makes the new. I mean, it's very vert coded, but it's brilliant. It's like gothic, but I feel it's obviously it's your name, but I feel you could do that.
Look
And that
that
would be a
up. I
great. You
might
could
read
be the
it.
young girl and then have the shadow of this ex-wife over you. It's really good.
That honestly sounds like also a good story. Like
Really good.
I'm like excited to see that they're within this genre also trying to do more genres. Like I definitely also want to do a rom-com. I feel like I do very well with those, and I feel like they also are quite popular and they fit I fit this the word vertical world well. Um ooh, the Rebecca one. Sorry, I'm
Sorry,
my
I made you go.
ADHD is
Yeah. Um, what sort of comedies do you enjoy yourself watching? Just like, are you like a screwball? Do you like the comedy of embarrassment? What ones appeal to you?
I'm actually I'm European like you. So I very dry, very sarcastic. Like I watch a lot of Danish stuff. And then I also like, I mean, The Hangover is one of my all-time favorite films. Like I would love to do like kind of like a female The Hangover. That's so up my alley, both as an actress and as a person, I think. Um, and I would say The Office, I do the American one.
The
But
American one's better. I 100% agree.
yeah, I can out battle most people in The Office quotes, I think. I absolutely love that. Schitt's Creek is also one of my favorites. Like I definitely Alexis is definitely someone that inspires me for the more comedic roles. Like she also has like that whole, depending on the world and like generally like I find so much inspiration in shows, TV series, like everything. Just started watching Scream Queens because I think Chanel's a brilliant like inspiration to some of my villains. Um, yeah.
It's interesting because you mentioned watching quite a lot of Danish shows. So obviously we know Verticals came from China, and they set up in LA, and then there's New York. But obviously it's spreading around the world now. So obviously I'm trying to be in touch with people in the UK, and I know that from last year to this year, the British vertical scene's really taking off. Now, obviously, Denmark is also somewhere else that produces great TV. Have you got any sense of if verticals have hit Denmark yet, and anyone's setting up there?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. I don't think they understand it and know what it is. I don't think so at all. But I think that studios here, or I know when I say I think, I know they're looking into it because I've had conversations with execs. And I mean, I like my hope is through this because that's what's so cool about working on these, right? I come from the horizontal world. Like that's what I've been doing. Verticals was new to me. And what's so cool about these is that it does give jobs to a lot of people, especially because not a lot shoot in LA anymore, but these do and other places too. They have a lot of us employed and the people who work on it like sometimes come from major shows, like the shows that we all watch on TV and already very well know. And I don't think anybody who works on these verticals are like, this is it. This is my final, like this is what I've dreamed about. That is the top of the top. I think it's a stepping stone for all of us. we all want more, right? And I think that's fair to say that you want more, even though you enjoy what you do. Like every time you reach a goal, you set a new one, right? Otherwise, we just die, or I do. But it's and that's what's so cool because I guarantee you that it might not be everybody who works on these that are going to be able to like break out and have like a solid career, but I guarantee you some are. Like that's just a given to me, and obviously hoping it's going to be me. But it's I think that once what if HBO starts doing these and it's still in this format, but even better. Like, remember there was a time where no movie stars would do TV. Meryl Streep doing a TV show? Not a chance. Nicole Kidman, like all these movie stars, it was like frowned upon to do TV because you're a movie star, you don't do TV. Now they've started doing such incredible shows where each episode is like a 1 hour cinematic, incredible experience. Meryl Streep is doing it. Nicole Kidman's doing it. Like they all do it now because it's so good. What if there's down the line a place where HBO doing a vertical could have like be the most like could really up the level of it and we could do those as well. I mean, I think that would also be fantastic and I hope that happens and I hope that by us who have like caught on to it early on that that can sort of help pave a way in to the other things we want to do because obviously like I said I want more. I want to do more and more and more and more and more.
I think that's going to happen. I think, yeah, you will all.
I hope
I,
so.
I
I
think
hope
it will
so.
happen. If you just look at how much has exploded since last year,
I
and I
mean,
just think
even
it
in
puts
it,
all of you in a really exciting position of sort of established names and faces, and that's partly why I wanted to do the Rising Star, so that when people go to the website, Rebecca Berg is on there, and they're like, that is a name,
I
part of the
appreciate
goal.
that
Yeah.
so much. It's funny because I was so hesitant getting into the vertical world first, but I'm also like, who am I? Like, who do I think I am? Who am I to like not want it? Like, no, like I'm an actress. Nothing makes me more happy than work. As sad as it is, it's true. I am even on my worst, even I always say my worst day on a set is still a good day. Like, that's what makes me happy. So it's like, um, now, especially you, like all my conversations with you. And you sharing also a friend you had who needed escapism and all these things like the fact that you can like do an impact like that's something that really really stuck with me because I'm like maybe there is more to it and if I can like it gives me so much joy to know that I can that what we do as a team can make someone's day better or like that's something that really impacts me to know and the messages I've getting like I got a message this morning from somebody who had written like almost this like poem and I almost started crying. It was just it was so so sweet. Like it it means a lot.
So that's one of the things I try and get across to you, like all the actors and things of, because
Mhm.
I know that there's this like snobbery, but I'm also like, look at Hollywood, yes, there's some good stuff, but there's also a lot of tripe. I mean, I always go,
Yeah.
Red One. I mean, that was a waste of everyone's time and money. Um, and do you know what I mean? There's
Right.
there's good and bad everywhere. It's like every media genre. There's great plays, there's terrible plays, there's great music, there's bad
Yeah.
music. And I would say the same with verticals. We know there's ones that aren't great, but there's also, I mean, there's works of genius. And I mean, I would say what you've had come out today is just it's perfect escapism. And then the other thing I go on about is like the world's really hard at the moment. I mean, I talk to fans all over the world, and no one sat there going, "Life is great," and I'm feeling really positive about the future. And so that's where I think, in a way, verticals are so important because actually we don't, yes, sometimes we want prestige TV, but actually most of us are living pretty hard lives and we want something that will transport us out of that,
Mhm.
just escape, switch off, and then also the perfection of it's finished and you move on. And that's what verticals do. I mean, that show you've put out today, I know from the messages I've had, that has made so many people happy today. People around the world who are like, I love that, it's so good, I've really enjoyed it. So you should be so darn proud of that. Like, you've provided that to people around the world. And I'm sorry that you had to do it by being really mean, but honestly, you've made
But I
such a
had fun while doing it because everyone was great and also just, I mean, shout out Noah, Noemi, like on that specific set, I was a little bit sick because I had just been working so much and I'd been working in the cold and all that. So, normal, like I was just not feeling great. And also, one morning I got some really bad news, like on a personal front, and I was crying all morning. And I went to work just crying and makeup like I had like they just took such good care of me, Noemi and Noah, like I'll never like forget that kindness because I had met Noah before and like we knew of each other, but I'd never hung out with him or like Noemi I'd met a couple times and like I knew we got along, but there's something rather personal that had happened and it's you can't overshare, but still like they were just so, so sweet. Noemi was checking in with me all the time. Noah was like giving me pep talks and makeup team were just fantastic because I remember looking in the mirror and be like, great, so I now feel like shit and I've been crying so much I'm gonna look like shit on camera because I'm swollen in my face. Like, and they were like, we got you. Like, it's that was just fantastic.
it's actually a beautiful way to end, because I would say that's one of the things I think fans have found, and I've got from talking to all of you, that just genuinely everyone I've spoken to and really interacted with in this industry is just lovely and caring and wants the best for each other and is all trying to work together to like elevate the space and just respect everyone. So I just want to say thank you to you, because you've been incredibly generous to me with your time. Whenever I do a random thing, you always are kind and answer my questions and get in touch, and it just means a lot, Rebecca. So I just want you to know that you're very, very
Well,
special to me. So thank you.
so are you, Jen. So are you. You are like truly like you do more than you realize, I think. Like we all know, we all see it, we all feel it. It's just has it gives me so much more joy to do these because I feel like it has a purpose and it's not about I mean, obviously me reading the nice words you wrote about me, obviously my ego is smiling, but it's just it's more than that. It's a purpose and you're like, yeah, it makes you feel good.
Go. I just want to say thank you so, so much for your time. And yes, world, we need a lot more Rebecca Berg. So cast her in everything because I want to watch her. And
Everything.
there you go. That's the pitch. Thank you again.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, Jen. Thank you so much.